I'm Kim Kral. I'm reporting to you not live from my closet. I made myself laugh right before. I always make myself laugh right before I start recording, so I don't know if you ever hear that, but what did I, this time, why did I? Oh, because I wanted to talk about elections today, but I also had written down a few other things, and so right when I hit record, I was like, remember Huffing Paint? Like, who says that to themselves? I also, every time, okay, I don't know where this is from. I have like snippets, we're off and running, I guess. I have like snippets, whatever, doesn't matter. How does my brain not remember certain stuff? Like, we all have gaps of knowledge. But I have like snippets of like little things from like television shows, but I never know. Remember pee-pee? Pee-pee. Pee-pee. I have just resigned to the fact that I will never know where pee-pee came from. Pee-pee. Pee-pee? Yeah, I don't know. And no one knows what I'm talking about, but I swear to God, there's a show out there where there's a scene of some kind of Muppet, I think. Pee-pee. Also, yeah, I don't know if I'm going to say that. If you watch this on YouTube, I'm posting these on YouTube, right? And if you watch it on YouTube, I was roasted for my birthday, I don't know, like 7 years ago or something, like when Mouthy Pants was a thing. I'm trying to bring up so when Mouthy Pants was a thing, I was roasted for my birthday, which I wanted. I asked to be roasted. And some of the stuff that people said was very, very, very funny. And then some of the stuff that was, well, actually all the stuff that was very, very funny has stuck with me, like gave me a new complex, but like I asked for it, so I can't be upset about it, right? But one of them, God, I think it was Kevin Anderson, who's just a very funny comedian who has his own podcast I've been on before, Bleak and Review. Check it out if you want to hear some funny shit. But he's what did he say? He was like, Kim Kral is like Courtney Love, except she didn't suck the right dick one time. It's so fucked up, but it's so funny. But this other guy said, you look like a skin Muppet. And like, if you watch me on YouTube last week, I look like a skin Muppet. Like if a Muppet was a human, I would be a Muppet. And like, that is like, and then he also said I had a double chin, which is not nice. He's like, you're the skinniest person I know with a double chin. And yeah, some of us have that. So fuck off. And I didn't notice really until, whatever, it doesn't matter. Yeah, so I have snippets of things. And so I was thinking about that because, like, I get really excited and then I'm like, you can't see me on the podcast, but if you look at YouTube, I was pretending to be a Muppet. Maybe don't look at it. It probably was a bad impression of it. It was stupid. But what am I saying? Oh, so I like snippets of, so every week I put on my phone on never going, dark, right? Like never, like when, I don't know, never turning off, like, so you go to the brightness and it goes 30 seconds, like when do you want your phone to turn off? 30 seconds, 1 minute, and the bottom it says never, and I always go never, haha, and that's from something, but I don't remember what the fuck it's from. And I, like, the problem is too, is like, I'm kind of tone deaf, so I can't mimic what the person actually, so never, haha. He could have said something else, or a woman. I have no idea. I don't remember, but I know I got that from somewhere. But Huffing Paint, if you're curious. I don't think I told you guys about this last week. I can't smell. Maybe I did tell you this last week. God, time is not real. Like last Wednesday, it feels like 7,000 things have happened. And 7,000 things have happened. It's wild how full your life is, even when you're on lockdown. It's awesome. I'm really grateful for that, actually. All right. I just took a deep breath because I'm like off and running. I'm like, just breathe, dude. It's 7 a.m. It's 7:15. I got up, or I don't have much makeup on. I got up at 5, bright and early, like so happy, right? I mean, yeah, Trump is gone. That's awesome. And hopefully today is like smooth, and like, hopefully they just took all the precautions they needed to make sure that Biden and Harris are safe and everyone else is safe. Like, fuck. But it's just like, today is the day that like a woman is vice president of the United States. Like, it's just like, I might cry. Like, it's really fucking cool. I was raised in a household that women were just nothing but secretaries. Like, my dad didn't say that, but he said similar shit to that. And it's just like, it's just, and a lot of people that my dad, women too, like there's a woman that I was raised, that was my dad's like business partner's wife. And so she was like an aunt to me, and I grew up with her. And when the vice president debate was happening, I posted something about her on my Facebook, and this woman commented and was like, "Really? She seemed like a bitch to me." And it was just like, what? Like how? What? Like I just can't wrap my head around it. And I commented, I was like, honestly, Nikki, that really disappoints me. Growing up around you, I always thought you were such a cool, powerful woman, but for you to like put down a strong woman and call her a bitch because she stood up for herself, like it just, I was just like, I'm just really disappointed. And then good for her. She didn't put it publicly, but she DM'd me and apologized. It's really disappointing to me when I hear people. I've been called a bitch a lot in my life, a lot, and I used to think it was because I was a bitch. Like it was like, man, I suck. I must be a real asshole. And now it's like, no, people are afraid of strong women. Like that's how men respond to strong women. That's how women respond to strong women who are uncomfortable with their own strength. And just seeing like Kamala up there just fucking owning it and being so happy too, right? Like she's just such a well-rounded human. Like she's like all business. Like she knows her shit, and is intelligent but doesn't put up with shit, but then also dances and like is in love and like wears a rainbow sequin jacket. Like it's just a really cool day in history. I'm gonna cry already. It's just really fucking cool. And yeah, just if you grew up in a house that like women shouldn't have rights and you heard that your whole life, it's just today is a really big day. It's really cool. So I woke up really early and I have a bra and a hat on, and I put on lipstick. So hoping you guys wouldn't. Who gives a fuck, right? I'll go back to the Huffing Paint, and then I wanted to talk. I am going to talk a lot about elections today and like kind of where I've been. So I hope you guys. I don't. Yeah. You'll stay. I'm not. You already know how I feel about the other side. But so I painted my closet last week, right? I don't know if I told you guys this or not. And if I did, it's like 2 minutes more of your life. And then the next day I bleached my bathtub, and I can't smell still, right? Like I can smell if I'm like consciously trying to smell and I like get up in there. But like it's wild. Like I have no idea what my apartment smells like. That like my biggest fear is smelling bad in any capacity. My apartment, my breath, my body, my car. Oh god, I'm terrified of my car smelling. Because when you get into someone's car and you're like, Jesus, did you kill someone in here? Like like cars have a very distinct smell, and I always want someone to get in my car and be like, oh, it's nice in here. Not like, ugh, like I don't know, like there. It's so I'm really crazy about my clean car and my apartment. I'm terrified of like of it smelling like a litter box, right? So I like clean my litter box a lot, and I get so worked up. My breathing is cool. I just get winded really easily. That's about where we're at now. I went on a 2-hour walk yesterday. I'm on day 3 of yoga. Like it's really awesome. I will never like I'm sore. Like I'm sore. My abs hurt. Like I will never take my body for granted again until I do. Like I'm a human. I'm all over the map. I had a lot of coffee and it's like 7 a.m. and I'm so excited. I've never watched an inauguration before. Where are we? Let's just take a breath. I just packed a whole lot in there that I didn't need to pack in. But yeah, I can't really smell. So I was painting this closet in the confined space for like 2 hours. And then all of a sudden I was just like, oh God, my head hurts. I feel really dizzy. And then I looked around and I was like, oh, you've been huffing paint for 2 hours. You've been huffing paint. And then, oh, my memory is gone, so gone so quickly. Because the next night I bleached my bathtub for like 2 hours. And then all of a sudden I got lightheaded again. And I'm like, stop accidentally doing weird street drugs. I don't, that shows you how much I don't know about drugs, that I'm like, people huff bleach, right? Is that a thing? But yeah, taking my body for granted. I will be careful from here on out, by the way. I'm painting my bathroom, and I think I've made a mistake. I got like a bright green, and I've been thinking about painting it bright green for the better part of a year. and I pulled the trigger and I've painted. I'm still gonna do it because like, what's the word? I've already painted half of it, so we're just gonna go for it and then see. Like when I painted my living room this color, I loved it immediately, and when I have a purple room, I loved it immediately. So I'm a little freaked out that the green room might be a little too much. And like, I don't think you can do an accent wall in a bathroom because it's like too small. I don't know. I'm gonna give it a whirl. We'll see what happens. None of it matters. But like taking like, so I will be more careful. I have a few people in my life that were like, Kim, like be careful. What an embarrassing way to die. That's what my friend said. My I don't know what to call him, but my friend. Uh, he was like, "What an embarrassing way to die! Like accidentally ODing on huffing bleach in your bathtub. So embarrassing. Like, don't like open a window and like be conscious of it." So I am, but I thought it was a funny share. Like so I say I'm never going to take my body for granted again. I don't know if I've ever told you guys this story. Because until I do, you know what I mean? Like until like I'm only human, and humans have really short memories, really short memories. Like I mean, just look at the state of the world and all, and how we tend to repeat history constantly. We have really short memories, and so I'm trying to be nice to myself about how I'm like, oh, thanks for that reminder again. Um, I don't know how many years ago, like maybe like 8 years ago at this point, a long time ago, I have a lump on my breast. And I found the lump. You do self exams, or I play with my boobs a lot, truthfully. I mean, like as a result, it's a self exam, but I mean, they're tiny and I definitely want to get breast implants, but like I went my whole teenage and like a lot of my 20s without any boobs. So like now that I have like tiny ones, I like to like move them around. But as a result, you inadvertently, self exam, which is great. But I found a lump. And then I had a girlfriend at the time that was, we were really, she was over and she's still my girlfriend. I don't know why I said that, but, and she felt the lump, and I just will never forget the look she gave me. Cause I was like, is this something? And she just like looked up at me with tears in her eyes, and she was like, go to the doctor. And I mean, she lives, I'm fine. Right. But I go to the doctor, and I'm not insured at the time. So I go to Planned Parenthood. I think that's one of like 52 reasons why I get super heated about Planned Parenthood, because people who don't like Planned Parenthood are just uneducated fucks. Like, I thought I had breast cancer, no insurance. I had a job. My job didn't provide insurance. And at the time, there was no Obamacare. So, like, I made too much money to get on any kind of help. So my insurance would be like $600 or some shit a month. It's so insane. Our country is so crazy. Hopefully things will change today. It'll take time. I know. Don't think that I'm like, I'm suddenly paranoid that my bright orange pajama pants are up in this video, and purple and orange. Ugh, what a nightmare. Just kidding. I don't care. But yeah, like I didn't have insurance. And so I went to Planned Parenthood for free. Like they checked out my boob for free. And she was like, yeah, there it is. I mean, it was so funny because I was so scared, and I went in and I was sitting in the medical room. I remember this like as it was like fucking yesterday. How I've talked about sometimes how there's life before moments and there's life after those moments. Like right now there's life before I had COVID, and there's life afterwards. Like there was a massive shift. I had two acquaintances, I would say. One was an old friend, but I haven't seen in years, and so just like they were old bar regulars at a bar I used to work at, and they both passed from COVID this week. So it's just like and me recovering has just been really difficult. So it's just put a lot of stuff in perspective that wasn't there before, and I'm so grateful for that. I talked about that last week. So like there was life before COVID and there's life after COVID, right? And I don't mean the grand pandemic scale, like what we're all gonna experience together. I mean my own personal, right? But there was life before this lump moment and life afterwards. I wasn't at all in contact with any of my family, right? Like my cousin who I talk to every night since I got COVID, we had a relationship, but it wasn't like I would call her for this, right? I had zero, my parents were gone, not dead, just not, parents. And so I had no support, and it was so scary. But like the people, like I know I just don't ever, I'll never not be blown away by the humans I get to have in my life. Like I just never will not, I'm going to cry a lot today. I got up at 5 in the morning and I cried right away. I'm going to cry a lot today. But like, I'll just never be, I'll never not be blown away by it. And so I was sitting in the waiting room, or in the exam room, waiting for the doctor to come in at Planned Parenthood. Terrified, right? Like just terrified, because it was just like, I don't even need to explain why. You know, it's like there's gonna be, it's either gonna be okay, or, I mean, now where I'm at now, I know that if it happened now, I know that it would be okay either way. But at the time, I didn't have that kind of thing. It was just like, it was horrifying. And the woman came in and she's like, "Hi," like way too cheery. And I was like, "Hey," and she goes, "How are we?" And I'm like, "I'm okay." She goes, "We're freaking out, aren't we?" And I'll never forget. She goes, "We're freaking out, aren't we?" And I was like, yeah, I'm freaking out. And I'm trying not to cry because like I'm so scared. And she was like, "Well, we're gonna be all right. So let's lay down. Let's take a look. Don't tell me where the lump is. I'm just gonna feel around myself, and it's gonna be fine." And she, like, so comforting, and like, just it's I think that's, like I said, like I have 1,000 reasons why I love Planned Parenthood, but like there wasn't like doom and gloom. And she touched my boob and immediately went, "Yep, that's a lump. That is a lump. Okay, well, let's talk about options and what we're gonna do." Like they didn't have the ultrasound or the mammogram or whatever. I probably should know the words to all of this stuff since it was such a life-changing moment, but I don't. They didn't have the exam that they needed to see if it was cancerous, right? They didn't have it at Planned Parenthood. So she was like, "I'm going to give you a few places to go, um, that are either free or will cost a little bit of money, but that will help you without insurance, without being like thousands of dollars," right? And I took a sip of water. Oh my God, my nose is running again. It's the crying, I think. I don't think it's the COVID. I think it's just that I cry in here every week. And I wasn't super conscious of it before until I started recording it. And then I'm watching the recording. I'm like, "You look like you did a bunch of blow. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing?" I did not do a bunch of blow. I just cry a lot. Um, I forgot what I was saying. Oh, so she gave me a couple, like a free clinic and a couple of others. And so I went to the free clinic first in Hollywood, and I go in there and it is exactly what you would think a free clinic on Hollywood Boulevard would look like. And I'm sitting there. Oh shit. That's my alarm. I can't believe it's 7:30, a half hour until I can't sing. I can. I'm so excited, guys. It's just, this is so exciting. And I've never watched an inauguration, so I like don't know what to expect. I don't know if I'm going to be completely enthralled or if I'm going to be like, "I made the right decision not watching this all these years." I don't know. Uh, so it's exactly the way you would think it would be, right, on Hollywood Boulevard. I'm just super sketchy. A lot of homeless people, a lot of sketchy characters, a lot of like, and I'm sitting there and I'm filling out the paperwork, and this guy is next to me with like track marks, and this other girl is next to me, like, just like coughing blood practically. Like, I mean, it probably wasn't as like horrifying as I remember it to be, but it was really horrifying in there. And I was like, "Girl, this is not going to be the place you find out if you have cancer. Like, you can't, this isn't, even if they said I had cancer, I'd have to go get a second opinion." Because I mean, not that the doctors are inept, but it was just so, I just couldn't, I was just like, "Spring the $200. And so I did. I went to, Sheryl Crow has a breast cancer organization where they help people cheap. It costs $200. I went in, and God, I'll never, like, and I had told a few people in my life, and like I had to wait like a week or two for the appointment. And I remember I was at this bar called, God, what was the bar called now? I remember it as Off Kilt and the Green Frog. Off Kilt, my friend's ex-husband opened with another guy. And so, but now it's like something else. The Woods Oaks Tavern. I don't know, whatever. It's in Sherman Oaks. I used to do comedy there a lot, so I should know. It's Oaks Tavern, I believe. But I was in there, and I think I was in there doing a mic, maybe. There's no other reason why I was ever there after these guys had opened Off Kilt. So I was doing comedy, and it was Monday Night Football, and we were watching, like, it was like finishing the game, and then comedy was going to start. And I remember the Seattle Seahawks were playing, and I can't remember why I needed them to win, but I needed them to win for some Bronco thing, so I was really watching. But I was like zoned out completely, and like they scored a touchdown, and like the whole room erupted. And then I came to and looked around and then watched the replay and like cheered, and people were like, the touchdown already happened. And I'm like, I have cancer. I mean, I don't, but like that, but like it was just like everything was just like a blurry movie, because until I got to go to the doctor, right? Oh shit. Got to go to the doctor, and um yeah, just like I working through it. It was just, and I told a few people in my life, like maybe like I remember two of my best friends that we've since grown apart. We've all, the three of us have just kind of gone our separate ways, but it's one of those things like I talked about last week. There was no anger, no anything. It's just like living in the gray, man. Like we're just different people now. But we were really close, and one of them was the girl that felt my boob to tell, and it was like go to the doctor, and they were both driving. They both moved to Boston, and I can't remember if they were driving, like because they moved back. I think they were driving. They either moved, like they. I think they were driving back to live. No, because she felt my boob. They were driving to go move to Boston. Wow, yeah, she was living here, felt my boob, then moved to Boston, and they were driving to move to Boston, and so they were like, call us immediately. And then my best friend Mark was like, call me immediately, right? And so I go into the doctor. I'm terrified, and I lay down on the bed, and or the bed. I lay down, and then they do the like, I think it's an ultrasound, right? And then he said a bunch of like medical shit, and I mean, I have no poker face. You can see my face, like I have huge eyes, like I can't ever hide my emotions, um, or can I? I feel like I can, but I don't use it very often because that's my secret weapon, right? People don't think I know how to lie. Secret weapon. Um, Not that I'm bragging about that, Jesus. If you're listening and you're like, when does she, whatever. I don't do it, but I can. But I, in those moments, I have no poker face, right? So what an odd segue. It's like odd sidebar. I'm able to lie if I need to. But my, my eyes can't, I'm crying. Like I'm trying not to cry. I'm terrified. And he says a bunch of medical shit. And I was like, okay. And he goes, it's benign. It's not cancerous. You're going to be just fine. And then I just started crying. And he was like, it's not even one you need to remove. The only thing you need to do is if it gets bigger or smaller, or if it gets bigger, we need to remove it. But right now, it's just, you just got a benign cyst and you're cool. Just, you're going to be fine. And I still have the lump. Like I never removed it because I like the reminder, and it never got bigger. It never got in, I like the reminder that, and I believe I've asked doctors over the years, like they've touched it over the year, and like everything's fine. No one's said anything, so don't think like, can your cyst removed, girl? But I walked out and just like the world was brighter. Like it was just like the clouds parted, and I don't mean clouds parted that I had clouds over my that like obvious clouds I had over my head for the like 2-3 weeks that I thought it could be cancerous. I mean like everything was better than it was before I even felt the lump. Like it was just like I had this new appreciation for shit, and like it just, I skipped out of there, like colors were brighter, like birds were louder, like everything, like traffic didn't bother me, nothing. And I called Kaylee and Courtney. Those are the two friends that were moving to Boston. I called Kaylee and Courtney, and they were on speakerphone, and they were like, well, and I was like, it's a benign cyst. And the three of us cried, like, and I just like I hadn't like I I didn't have that kind of love growing up, that they like cried for my health. And yeah, they're not really, we're not close anymore. But they are the type of women, the type of friendships that if they called me and they needed anything from me, I would be there immediately, right? Like moving body buddies. Like those two women mean a great deal to me. But yeah, and I wonder if they ever know how much it meant to me that they cried with me when I was not, when it wasn't cancerous. And then I called my best friend Mark. His best friend of like 20 years. We met in college. He's just the best person I've ever met in my life. The best person. Like I'm blown away by what a fucking amazing person he is. And I called him and I tell him it's benign, and he goes, "Oh, thank God," and he goes, I was looking into ways of marrying you, like to make it like, so you can be on my insurance. And obviously we could just get married, but like he lives in Colorado and I live in LA. And he was just like, I was looking into ways to marry you so you could have good insurance and you wouldn't have to go through this out of pocket. And like, just like that kind of like love that like he was, I mean, now he's married with like 2 kids. Their kids call me Aunt Kim, and his wife is amazing. Which is so awesome when your best friend finds someone cool that becomes also your family. Uh, but like the fact that he was like looking into that, just to make sure I was safe. It was just, and I feel, and you know, I had that lesson for a long time. I had that like love for life for a really long time, and you know, fades, and then COVID brought it back. Like watching, I mean, we hit a 400,000 deaths yesterday. It was 500,000 deaths, guys, and there's still people out there. Like, it makes me so angry when kids from my high school, and I call them kids, yeah, they're like 40, but it's like, you're a fucking child. That's your privilege. Like when they talk about how it's a hoax, 400,000 people are dead, and you think it like the government is making it up. It's just, that's your privilege. Like the guy that passed away that I knew, he passed away a couple of days ago, and the other guy, they live in like a predominant black and brown neighbor, like community, and this virus is affecting those communities much more than the white communities, right? Because you know, it's just for obvious, right? If you're listening to this and you're like, why crack a book, but and so I just think it's like your privilege that you're able to say that this is a hoax or this is just the flu when you don't know anybody who's died. Like that, it's your white privilege. And it just pisses me off so much because this guy who died, like both guys who died this week left kids behind. And like, and I don't know what kind of medical care they got. I don't know. I know the one guy was in and out of prison and gang stuff his whole life. I know that because I was subpoenaed for a case for him, which was not really that long of a story. He just clocked a guy right, you know, at the bar and assaulted a guy, and I just happened to be in the frame of camera. I never had to like testify, thank God, but it's just, but that guy was so cool. They called him Raider James or the mayor, and he yeah, my first week at this bar I worked at, he came up to me and he was, you know, I'm a Bronco fan, he's a Raider fan, and I'm just some white girl from Littleton, Colorado, you know, like he's like a part of like, I later found out he was, you know, heavily gang affiliated. So we're just like opposite walks of life. And he just came up and he goes, you know what, I'm gonna overlook the fact that you're a Bronco fan. You work here, your family, I got your back no matter what. And he's like, they call me the mayor. And he just like hugged me, and every time he was always, he just like so just like, you know. And then the other guy, I didn't know the other guy super well, but he would sit at the bar a lot, and I guess he ended up working at the bar I worked at afterwards. But it's just like, this is real. Those two died of COVID. They died of COVID like they died of COVID. And there's people out there who are like, that's a hoax. This is like, fuck you and your privilege. It makes me so angry. But like now, but it's so, colors are a little brighter again, and I cry a lot because I'm just so fucking grateful that I survived. And you know, we don't know the long-term shit of this, and so I am a little scared. I don't like that I am unable to do a lot of physical activity. It's not my favorite thing in the world, but I'm slowly working back up. Whew. So that's my one lucky broad. Can we say that? I am one lucky broad. I'm one lucky broad. That whole cancer scare story, that I survived COVID, that I'm recovering. Like, I'm going to say I'm like 80% all the time right now. 75% all the time. But so there's sometimes that I'm full 100%. I just haven't been 100% for a full day. But like, I'm so fucking grateful. I'm just so grateful. And we'll do our poop scoop, because then I want to talk about some election stuff. Fun election stuff. Don't get scared off. I love that we're not allowed to talk about politics. Maybe we should do that. Like, you shouldn't talk about politics. It's rude. It's like, well, we've been all silent for so long, and now look at the fucking mess we're in. Maybe we all should start talking about how we feel, right? So, poop scoop. Poop scoop. I don't have, guys, I think it's episode 41. I'm out of pooping my pants stories. I'm out of pooping my pants or pooping embarrassingly in public or sharding. I'm out or plugging toilets. I am out of those stories. I mean, I don't know if I should be ashamed it took me 40 hours to be out of those stories, or if I'm ashamed. Like this morning, I was like, what am I going to do for the poop scoop today? And I was like, you know what, girl, you're just going to have to shit your pants. Like, you're just going to have to shit your pants. And I'll do that for you guys. I will poop my pants for the greater good of Crawl Space. I don't know if that's true. I don't know how easy it is to just consciously poop your pants. It's probably not easy. Like, if you've ever tried to consciously pee, I mean, I've peed my pants a lot in my life. A lot. Like, not a little bit. A lot. I mean, the last time I peed my pants, I was like 30. So I haven't peed my pants in a while, but I was 30 when I peed my pants. And not a drunk thing. Like I was stone cold sober. I just waited too long and peed my pants. And I peed my pants. Like peed them. Like 5 feet from the toilet. It just poured out and I just watched it come and then it just wouldn't stop. And you'd think I'd try and run to the toilet, but at that point the damage had been done. So I just was watching myself pee my pants. So, but that, like, I've never consciously tried to pee my pants. And so I don't believe it'd be easy to consciously poop my pants. Like, understand that I would be willing to take one for the team and shit my pants for you guys. But I don't think I could do it. But maybe, I mean, fingers crossed. I do have a lot of, diarrhea. So who knows if I can. Who knows if I'll, I don't know why that's so funny. Diarrhea will never not be funny. I don't trust anyone who doesn't think poop and farting is funny. So you're going to have to start sending me your poop scoop stories. Send me all of your, my friend sent me a great story last week, but it was like currently happening to her. And I forgot to ask her if I could say it on Crawl Space. So I will ask her if I can say it on, because it was a great story. But I like to ask if I can tell people's story before I bring it on here. Cause like not everyone's as open and honest about shitting themselves as I am. You should be. Life is a little bit more fun when you talk about shitting your pants. But you know what? We're not all there on the level of not giving a fuck. But so that's my poop scoop. My poop scoop is I don't have any more shitting pants stories. I do really want to try Edward 40 hands. I mean, I think those days are behind me, so I think that ship sailed. Like, I think maybe I could do it before I'm 40. Edward 40 hands, if you don't know, is where you put on a diaper. I can't believe I'm saying this. You put on a diaper and then you tape 40s to your hands and then you have to finish them. I don't know how. I think you probably have to use your mouth to tape it. And then you finish them. And then it's cool if you pee your pants because you got a diaper on. You're supposed to do it with other people. So I don't know if there's anybody in my life who would be willing to do that with me or if I should do it alone. But then I feel like if I do Edward 40 hands alone, I don't know, I feel like there's some way I'll knock myself out somehow. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like that's dangerous to do Edward 40 hands alone. But yeah, that's the poop scoop. The poop scoop is that I've used up all of my pooping stories. Maybe not. Maybe I'll do some journaling and maybe something really traumatic that I like blocked out will come up and that'll be really exciting for all of us. So I've never watched an inauguration. Like you guys know that I put on this bra that is just, I couldn't find my favorite bra that I usually wear. Yeah, I have like a bra that I love wearing. And I have a bunch of other bras, but they're just only okay. And this one's just only okay. Yeah, I've never watched an inauguration. I've never thought about it. It was just like, I knew the inauguration was happening. Like Trump did do one thing for me personally before, and I don't know how common this is or that if I should be proudly saying it, but before Trump, like I was, informed enough. Like I knew who I was voting for, not just president, like, on all levels of government. I knew what props I was voting for. I voted every time. I watched enough news to, somewhat know what's going on with the world, but like never, I mean, I think with Obama too, I just felt really safe and capable hands. Like Obama didn't seem like a sociopath that would just like have a temper tantrum and blow up some country. You know what I mean? Like Trump like this morning I woke up and I like took a deep breath and was just like, oh my God, I never will go back to not being fully informed again. But like once Trump took office, like I started reading it and I learned a lot about branches of government that I didn't really learn in school or hadn't long forgotten. And so I knew inauguration was always the 20th, but it just never was anything that you would be freaked out about. And the day that, like, I knew that they had to certify the electoral college votes. I knew that, but it never was that important to watch. I didn't know the vice president was the person that did it. Like, a lot of that stuff. And I know maybe I shouldn't be so proud of my ignorance, but I also think that we should not shame people for their ignorance and applaud them when they do try to learn. And I know I'm biased because I'm on that side of it, but like, I think the more, I don't know, I feel like, especially now, if people are willing to learn, don't shame them for, having, certain views. I've talked about this a long time. Like I grew up in a household that I was told Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve. Literally, my dad used a fucking 10-year-old rhyme, like a little boy's rhyme to explain to me that being gay was not okay. Like how, like as an adult now, I'm like, God, what a fucking idiot. What a, like, I mean, not even just like his terrible, like bigoty views, but like, what a fucking idiot, right? Uh, God, I think my people who love my dad probably have long stopped listening to this podcast because I'm sure it's not easy to hear some of the stuff I've talked about on here. So, and I'm also not going to censor myself about that. And women's rights, like like I talked about this before. I went to college, and thank God, I met women that didn't shame me for my views. I used to say things like illegal alien and proudly, and my sophomore year in college, my roommate at the time was like, whoa, what did you just say? And I was like, well, and then I don't even remember. I just like spouted off shit my dad said. And she was like, girl, I'm going to sit you down and we're going to talk. And she like explained stuff that like nobody had ever talked to me about. And same with abortion. I had another friend that is a dear friend of mine still. She was like, do you know what a back alley abortion is? And I was like, no, but it sounds like murder. Like, I don't think I said it like that, but like literally I was just like, it's a murder. And she explained like why it's not even about it's about autonomy over our bodies. And like, thank God these women. And then, I met a bunch of different people. I met a lot of gay people, and it was like, I think my dad is gravely wrong. I think he doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. And and like, I don't think my father was homophobic. He was just he just was raised religious. I don't, honestly, I have an uncle that's gay, and they were very close. I don't want to put words in my dad's mouth except for the words that he had said to me. So I don't think he was like actively hating and homophobic. I just think he was ignorant. I think he was just very ignorant. And I think that if he were alive now, and he wasn't who he was when no, we wouldn't have a relationship. If he were alive now, I'd still be blissfully having that dude out of my life, because he was a bad guy. But I hope that maybe someone would talk to him about all this, because I know that like it was not hateful, it was just ignorance. And I think, thank God I had people that talked to me. My nose is fucking running again. Now I'm all paranoid. I look like I did a lot of coke. I don't think you guys think I did a lot of coke, although it is 7 a.m. and this is like as bright-eyed as I've ever been. I'm so excited. But so I think like a good step in the right direction is just like not shaming people for their ignorance. And there's a difference. I'm not talking about hateful ignorance and like unwillingness to like look at, like, there's a difference, but ignorance of just like, I don't know much about that. But now I'm seeing like my cousin, she was raised in a really, really, really white part of the country, and she has never looked at, I think she knows like, I think she grew up with like a black girl, and now she knows a black person. And she came to me when she saw that I was protesting BLM, and she was like, I don't know a lot, and I think I might be wrong. And instead of me being like, what? You used to say all lives matter? Gross. You're disgusting. It was like, this woman is trying. She watched some documentaries, learned about Jim Crow laws, was like, oh, I didn't know. I believe she still voted for Trump, which is mind blowing. But the fact that she, like, don't shame, like, I don't know. And maybe some people are like, fuck you, shame them. But that's just my personal views. Like, I think the only way we heal is if we stop yelling them and us, like believe me, there are of them. The QAnon people, they've been radicalized. Like, give them their own state, send them somewhere. I don't know, but like, I think that's different than ignorance. I think that's a brainwashed deprogramming situation that I don't know how we're going to heal from that. Because there is a lot of people in this country who, oh God, crazy. So fucking crazy. So I've never watched an inauguration. And thank God for I've talked about them before, the women in my at college who were like, whoa, hey, let's talk. And they're still some of my dearest friends, like they're still like, we don't talk much, but we're still, if they called me, I would be there for them in a heartbeat. You know what I mean? And like, but that my first election that I ever voted for, it was funny. My cousin's like super liberal, right? And I love it. Like, she and I now talk politics, and it's so cool. And I love listening to her. She's like the person in high school who's on like covers of newspapers for protesting. Like, she's been involved forever, right? And I was like, and I was telling her, I was like, man, I've never really been nervous about like like hoping that like the electoral college will just go and like vote for the popular vote the way I was when Hillary and Trump, in 2016. And I was never worried about like a certification, and I never really thought about it. And I was like, it's just so, and I like blanketly said that everyone felt that way. It was just like, God, I don't feel like everybody, I don't feel like anybody cared about this before. And she goes, do you not remember the 2000 election? And I was like, oh, you don't remember that? I voted Republican then. And she was like, oh, I voted for Bush. I voted for Bush because my dad voted for Bush. And I'd never met anybody else. So that was, I am so, I'm still on my floor. I'm accidentally pulled everything out of all of my closets and shelves and put them in the middle of my living room. And now I feel like I made a mistake. I feel like it's going to take me like 6 months to get my apartment back in order. But my dad voted for Bush, so I voted for Bush. And I proudly voted for Bush. Like, and it's so funny. It was like, I voted for Bush, and then I skipped into, 2001 being like, he's my president. And my cousin, was like staying up all night watching, what did I do? Watching, the certification and like my mic just got, it's a very specific way to like, no one cares. Maybe you do. A very specific way my mic is sitting, and I knocked it off of it. So I have like a weird incline in my closet. No one cares. Why am I telling you that? Yeah, like I was like, yeah, she's like, I stayed up all night watching the news, just praying that this person might help. And like, I was like, God, it wasn't even an option. Like, I didn't even look into Al Gore. It was just my dad voted for Bush. I'm a Republican, just like my dad. Thank God. But I mean, there's a cute election story that happened. This is when I talked about my first love. I've talked about him a few times. And I think this was one of the moments that I was like, oh my God, that guy loves me. And it's such a little stupid thing, but it was like so sweet. The day of the election, a bunch of us on our dorms were going to go. So this is my first ever election, right? And everyone on the dorms were going to go vote together. And I don't remember if I've because everyone that I know now from my floor is very progressive. And so I wonder if I proudly said I voted for Bush. I do vaguely remember my dad telling me it's nobody's business who I voted for. And I think that's because he had shame when he, you can't, he's like, so you don't have to tell anybody who you voted for. And you don't. But I feel like if you're embarrassed by who you voted for, maybe, on some level you're voting the wrong way. You know what I mean? Like, I'm proud of everybody I voted for after the 2000 election. I will proudly say I voted for, equality after the Bush administration, or after that first election. 2004, I voted for Kerry. But yeah, I don't think, I must not have told, but we were all supposed to go together, and I had this monologue. I was a theater major, and I was trying to audition into the acting emphasis program. I think I told you guys this about I don't know, 6 or 7 weeks ago, a couple months ago, about how everybody in my acting class protested that I got in. But this was the time that I was rehearsing a lot for this monologue, and I was really I was just not doing well. It wasn't coming together. I was like, I'm the worst actress ever, that whole thing. And so I went into Adam's room, Adam's dorm. Adam was my first love, right? And I go into his dorm, and I have a watch on that my best friend from high school gave me for Christmas, or for graduation. And it's on, and I sit in his little beanbag, because of course he had a beanbag and a big Christina Aguilera poster. It was 2000, right? And I sit there, and he's sitting next to me, and I'm just freaked out about this monologue. And I'm trying to go vote, and I'm not going to be able to vote, and I just need to vote, and I need to work on this thing. And I'm freaking out. And then right as I'm in the middle of my freak out, my watch breaks and falls on the floor. And I just look at him with tears in my eyes. And I had no intimacy. I had a lot of intimacy issues. I was going to say, I had no, crying in front of Adam, not drunk, was horrifying. I mean, I cried in front of Adam all the time when I was hammered, but that didn't count, right? Real intimacy, real intimacy is being able to cry in front of your partner without being hammered. That statement right there shows you had a really fucked up childhood, right? But I was horrified of showing any kind of emotion in front of him, so I just grabbed my watch and scurried out of there, just crying. And then I went and I voted and I worked on my monologue and I came back, 4 or 5 hours later, and I was a huge NSYNC fan. I mean, like proudly. Like one thing I've always really like. It's so weird to say this, and I implore you to say it about yourself too, because like we're taught that we should have self esteem, but when we have self esteem, people are like, "Whoa, you're so conceited. I can't believe you just said that." But one of the things I've always loved about myself. There, I said it. I want you to say that because, oh, it feels so uncomfortable too right now. I'm like, I can't believe I just said that on here. But it's one of the things I've always loved about myself is just like, I am unapologetically me. And I'm fucking weird. And I fucking love stuff that like people are like, really? Like I proudly listened to Paul Abdul all through high school. And like people are like, Paul Abdul was like when we were in elementary school and it wasn't even cool then. And like so in sync, I got to college and I decorated my entire side of the room with just like every poster imaginable. And like no one, everyone, like people had like one poster, that dopey like college guy drinking beer or some shit, but like no one was as proud about their in sync. In fact, some of the guys on my floor used to steal one particular Justin Timberlake poster and hide it around the dorm, and I'd have to go find it. And like it was supposed to be like they're being mean, but it was like flirty and fun, and it made me feel involved, especially since I wasn't popular in high school. It made me feel very popular. But so I loved NSYNC and like unapologetically, right? And I got made fun of it for it relentlessly. I mean, as you guys know, I blew a dude for backstage passes for NSYNC, my first blowjob. God, that's so embarrassing to say, and a lot of stuff, like a lot to unpack there, obvious self-esteem issues, dad issues, like all that, like dad, like a lot of dad stuff in there, whatever. But so I can't, and Adam didn't like NSYNC, of course, an 18-year-old boy was like, gross, they're this, they're that, like didn't like NSYNC. And I came back and he was like, hey, I have a surprise for you. And I was like, what? I was so bummed out. And he was like, I recorded. No, he tried. I think he tried to record. He was like, I was in sync was on Rosie O'Donnell, and I tried to record it, but my VCR broke, so I couldn't record it. So I watched the whole hour, and now I'm going to tell you exactly what all of them said. Like you were there. Like the guy watched the whole, and it's so little, but like he watched the whole Rosie O'Donnell interview, and he did. He's like, Justin's now favorite cereal is Captain Crunch. This is also a kid that like watched Buffy with me every Tuesday. And it was so funny because there was another guy named Shane that loved Buffy, like actually loved Buffy, and would come watch it with us. And every time Adam would open his mouth, Shane would be like, shut up, Adam, Buffy's on, waiting for a commercial. And I was like, yeah, Adam, what Shane said. And so Adam would just sit there, and then and then anytime we had an off period, Adam wouldn't come watch Buffy with me. But he's always like, yeah, I love Buffy. Buffy's like my favorite show. And years later, he's like, no, I didn't like Buffy. I liked you. So I wanted to, and I knew how much you loved Buffy. So just, that was like the first, like, Adam and I are, Adam and I haven't talked in, I don't know, a year. I think we send each other happy birthday. He's married with 2 kids. And it just, I love that he got to be my first love. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, I'm so happy he's happy. And I'm so happy that like, there's still like, we see each other and we hug and we just genuinely want the other one to be doing well. And, I don't know. I always want to just be like, Adam, thanks for loving me. I was a really fucked up kid. I had a lot of stuff going on, and I put him through a lot of drama. But yeah, that was my first election. And now today is going to be my first. It started 1 minute ago, so I may cut this short today. I'm sorry. It's a big day. It's like Christmas. I appreciate though a guy that listens who's I've met him a couple of times at shows. Dan, hi Dan, was like, are you stopping 1 hour for us or because you want to do a certain thing? And you're right. I'm doing it because I'm fearful that over an hour is too long, and those are critical voices in my head that I made up, and also are my old partner's voices. He would be like, it's too long, nobody wants to listen to you for an hour. And I can go ahead, thank you Dan for saying that last week, because I can go ahead and tell those voices they're wrong. I'm lovely to listen to for an hour or more, right? But I am going to cut it a little short today just because the inauguration, I'm just sending out good vibes. I really hope that it's safe. And I cannot believe that they found like 25 members of the National Guard that are, I mean, I can actually, I know my fucking, I can't believe they found it, and they're like associated with white supremacy and extremists and like terrorists essentially. And I'm like, yeah, no, I can actually, I can. I wish they would have vetted them earlier than a few days ago, but I guess, I don't know. I just want them to, everybody to be safe. And I'm excited for a new chapter. And if you aren't particularly stoked about these two, I don't know. It seemed, I hope you can open your heart a little bit. And you know what? I tried in 2016. I was like, you know what, this guy is going to be, I said a lot to people, like, I said, I think it was Obama that said it, but yeah, Obama was like, I'm rooting for this guy. We like not rooting for Trump in 2016 was like after the election was over, right? Like, and like, it was like, this guy is going to be our president. So rooting for him to fail is like rooting for the pilot to crash a plane that you're on. Now, this dude for sure crashed the plane. Like, what has happened in the last 4 years, and that like the trauma we're all experiencing together, like the mass trauma that I don't even think we've scratched the surface on how we're going to be affected by the death, the pandemic, all of this shit, like the white supremacy, like it's so like I don't think we're going to be able to grasp it until it's done, but we are experiencing a mass trauma, and today we get to start healing. So I know if I mean I'm going to bet that most Trump supporters do not listen to my podcast, but I don't know. Maybe right now we just try to heal. And unless somebody is on the side of like, I'm not, like extremist, if someone's trying to learn or see the other side of things, maybe try to educate them. Because not too long ago, I was a pretty ignorant person, and people took time to educate me, and it completely changed my life. And I'm so fucking grateful for it. So I don't know, today just marks for me a new hope. And like maybe today we start healing. And the only way we can do that is if we get on the other side of the table with the other person and find out, work together. And like, it's, yeah, they're believe me, their views are cuckoo bananas. And the fact that they even are like, I mean, racist, terrible. It's really hard to say that, but it's just, what other option do we have? I don't know. And it's hard to say that because I told you last week I'm not friends with a girl but she's been radicalized, right? Like she's QAnon now, and it's like that. I'm talking about people who are middle of the road who are going, okay, I'm going to give this Biden thing a chance. Those people. I'm not talking about the QAnon. Please don't. The crazy out of this world, like no. But I don't know. Today just marks a new era, And we have a woman VP. We're going to have a woman VP in like 2 hours. Fuck, I'm excited. Yeah, so that's Crawl Space. I had it all queued up. I didn't. You saw it on the video. I did not have it all queued up, but I now have it here. I would like to read my review. Because so if you, I'm reading a review every week to just thank listeners for listening and leaving reviews. If you get a chance, please leave one. They mean so much to me. You already know I cry every time I read one because I'm a crier and I am who I am. But yeah, I'd like to. This one is from Sarah Jane 85. Kim Credible. Oh my God, Kim Credible. How have I not seen that yet? That's amazing. Kim Credible. I get Kim Possible all the time. That makes me want to throw my head through a window, but like Kim Credible. Kim crams so much fun and humor into her podcast. I love her honesty, fascinating stories, and fun segments, especially TMK, which is wonderfully random and real. Her authenticity shines through, and I can tell she really is recording from her cramped closet. Can't wait for more episodes. Thank you, Sarah. I always know who they are through, not always. I mean, I usually know who they are through my, what am I fucking saying? Through my, the name. So I appreciate it, girl. We went to college together. She's one of the most beautiful humans I've ever met. But yeah, so if you get a chance, subscribe, leave a review, share it if you like it. My goal this year is to get Crawl Space out, and to more people. I think I have a good voice. I think I have a good voice. Just if you want to share. I don't know. I think I have some. Like, why is it so awkward to like say that you have worth? I think my voice is worth sharing. There. If you hear this and you're uncomfortable with me talking good about myself, as uncomfortable as I just was, try it for yourself. Say right now, stop and say your name is, and then say something awesome about yourself. Try it. It's really uncomfortable, I guess, but it's important. Like, if we should love ourselves. So, yeah, I think I would love it if you could share this with someone. I want to get Crawl Space, bigger this year. That's a big goal. So, subscribe, leave me a comment, or leave me a review, a rating. I'm on YouTube now. If you could give that a subscribe, give it a subscribe. You know what I mean. And then follow me on all the socials, KYMKRAL. And, yeah, be kind to each other. Just be kind to each other. And wear a fucking mask. All right. See you guys next week. Bye. Krals,